Addiction thinks in circles, whereas invention thinks in spirals.
Yes. Yes,
And
yes,
I
yes.
love it. And spiral is not one dot, it's actually one seed becoming bigger and bigger and bigger
Mhm.
and bigger and bigger and bigger.
So I'm grateful for that. And then two, just the pain just reminding me like this body is so amazing.
Where else can you go
Hmm.
other than inside? And
Hmm.
when you're so almost like forced to face yourself, you find lots of love. And you cut your hair.
Um, it's the same hair. Oh, well,
Same hair, different cut, no?
yeah, yeah. It was cut.
Is this for your new prophy, professional photography? Profit.
Mm,
Hinting, hinting.
yeah, right. You're reminding me. Um, no, not intentionally. It's been such a whirlwind, and typically, we cut the kid's hair, and then mine is like, oh yeah, let's do mine too. It's just kind of, it's like a 6 minute adventure, and then it's done. So I tend to forget. I'm like, oh,
Good. I mean, same for me. It's less than 6 minutes, and you can tell the difference.
mm-hmm.
And it's
Are you
been
growing it out
wild
again?
lately. No, it's doing its own thing. I wake up like this. It goes this way and then this way and then this
Yeah,
way. It's like it changes until it's not there. So it's been, yeah, it needs a little facelift. Oh, well,
yeah, that's good. I love your space. Your space. Are you playing guitar?
I'm learning
Mm,
for
okay.
my soul.
Yeah,
I'm
it's so
learning
good.
because I have so many good lyrics that touch my heart that I want to actually sing them myself. So if I were to learn how to do it, I would just do it to sing the lyric, which is so beautiful. And yeah,
Mm,
I'm learning. It's been like for 2, 3 years already. I even have those little mini sleeves. So it's really, really cool to jam alone in
mm-hmm,
silence
mm-hmm,
without having eyes or ears or expectations. So
mm-hmm.
yeah.
Are you singing?
Mm-hmm.
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 Yeah, maybe this is the destiny of your poetry. Who knows?
Oh, it's my vision. If I can find a piano player,
Mm-hmm.
oh, just to dance with my reading or narrating of the words that are just so magical and fantastical. Oh, that's my dream. But I will one
Mm-hmm.
day. It will be really beautiful. You know,
Yeah,
in LA,
there's.
there's, I don't know if you guys have, you probably have. I think it's called So Far Sounds. I can't remember. Is it? Yeah, So Far Sounds. So you probably have it there too. When the new upcoming artists,
Mm,
you can just go and see them. It's very private. People open their homes to host. So it's with like 20, 30
mm,
people. You don't know the address until what, 24 hours before. And there's a lot of good artists with good vocals, good writers, and
mm-hmm,
just like coming in and pouring their soul out there
mm-hmm.
because they love it. So,
Mm,
anyway,
that's
we
cool.
digress.
Cool concept.
Okay.
Yeah, the wonder of uncertainty. This
Well,
one, this one touched me a little
yeah,
closer than the last one.
because you're a parent.
Yeah, and apparently, uh, I've kind of lived with this shadow for most of my life, and I feel like he says when you finally activate or have like the emotional intelligence piece come together,
Hmm.
it takes about 7 years to come out of that, and in that 7 years, you start to see elements of your genius emerge,
Hmm.
and I feel that I'm just now I couldn't place it. Maybe I'm at like year 4 or year 5 or something.
Mm.
Yeah, but
And
this was a
are you talking about you or are you talking about your children? You're talking
talking
about
about
yourself.
talking about me here. Yeah,
Mm.
because my for my period for my age 7 to 14, it was like, I'd always tell people like I was on my own, like both physically, spatially, spiritually, emotionally. My
Mm.
parents were very, very supportive in that way of like just letting me do my own thing. Um, but I'm sure, it's like, was it good or bad? Who knows? But there's just that piece of like not having any emotional connection, any deeper emotional connection with my parents, um, and largely learned to suppress emotions at that age
Wow.
because of church and extended family, and um, unless it's anger, anger was the one accepted emotion in my family. So
When you say accepted emotion, you mean it was dealt with or allowed with tantrums to be
yeah, there was,
expressed?
yeah, there was space for it. My dad showed it, and my mom showed it, and it was like an understandable emotion. It was like a reasonable thing to bring into the home. Um, yeah, and it's tough being the youngest there because my sister was when I was 7, she would have been 13 or 14, and so she was in a very turbulent period and coming into her own. And she like ran away from home at 16 and started dating like much older guys and doing all that stuff. So I was like an afterthought, and they would check on me, of course, but I seem like I have it together comparatively. So where do you put your time and attention when you're already limited with your resources as a parent? You don't have a lot of energy, time, and space to devote to that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm grateful though because Luca's gonna be turning 7 next year. I'm excited to bring the intention and see what unfolds out of his evolution into that stage.
Mm.
I was just thinking how cool it is. He's turning 7 right at the end of 2026, right before like this big shift.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But you're touching a very sensitive topic, I think, for
Hmm.
a lot of people, especially because, as a parent, you probably, I don't know, I'm not a parent. I can only assume. But I hear, I hear parents speak of their own sense of inadequacy of just parenting.
Mm.
And, you can only parent or be what you know, what you
Hmm.
learned how to be. And the learning comes from the developmental age all the way up to 21, 23, right? So he talks in 7 cycles, so 7, 14, and then 20, 21, right? The most unstable, the most unstable emotional states in psychological, like you have this like leap, the second leap of emotions that you've never felt before that are
Mm.
coming in destroying, almost like attacking you, right? You almost feel like, oh my God, I feel jealousy. What is this? I feel fear, like I'm afraid to be alone. I feel excitement. I feel love. Like, what is this? What is this? And this and this and this and this. And then he really touches the point of us being just totally alone, relying on what we know only, which is only previous 14 years or 7 years to cycles, right? And what we know only is purely given by our caregivers. And in modern psychology, alternative shall not the DSM-5 one. it's almost like you have to dig. It explains that if, as a parent, you don't deal with your own emotions, and if you suppress them and push them aside, literally that energy, he talks about it as a frequency, comes from the parent and gets offloaded from you to them, which is why we carry from generations to generations to generations someone else's almost it's not baggage, but as an adult who understands one way or another emotions, that there's plethora, that there's a complexity in them, that there are triggers. And if you choose not to deal with it as a parent, you don't do, you're actually not doing your child a favor. You're not teaching your child what the healthy emotion is, that they're supposed to show up. They will show up. And the reaction to it is where you discern, is it healthy or unhealthy? Is it functional or dysfunctional? So, yes, until we die, we're going to have to deal with this, really. And we
Hmm.
grow older to understand them, to take them as a chemical process, to not try to really not react to them. But by the time we hit 50, that's already, they're already in their 20s or 30s. So see how we're like catching up, but we're also not supported in this most by the system, by the religion, by the parenthood, by the schooling. We're not supported whatsoever to
Hmm.
deal with and understand them, allow them, find the outlet for them to be expressed in a way where it regulates you down rather than just suppress them and kind of leave the child to go on and figure it out on their own. So it's a very tender and very dangerous states. Oh, years almost like of instability.
Yeah. Yeah, and tender is a great word for it. It's really something that has to be sought out because the initial emotional layer is usually some kind of cover or a protection mechanism or a barrier. Beneath is where like the real emotion lies, and then the
Mm,
complexity, the interplay of like you have like surface emotion and then you have deep emotion, and knowing how to navigate that or showing that you can navigate that as a parent really opens your kids' eyes to like, oh, there's more going on here than what I'm seeing on the surface. And for just a quick story example, um, Carly had a difficult week with the kids. Like every time she would take them somewhere when I'm working, she'd report to me. She's like, they just didn't listen. Like we had to keep pulling over because they kept getting out of their seatbelts. We had to do this in the car, all of these challenges, and they're just not listening to her. And so she's like to the point of breaking because she's so angry. And she's like, I'm just not going to take them anywhere. I'm like, you're welcome to do that to teach them where your boundary lies. And like, but ultimately you have to define like why is this occurring and why are you having this reaction? I'm like, your anger is only a part of the story. It's just a cover emotion. And when she's angry and she can't see it, I'll like kind of reflect the anger to show her, um just to try to break through it. And so I was reflecting the anger back to her and saying like, your anger is bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. There's nothing there. And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, I am pissed. I'm like, no, you're not. There's something more. There's something deeper. And until you go there and look at it, they're never gonna know like that it's really affecting you. Because with kids, when you're angry at them as a parent, like, and if you could imagine being so small, and this very large figure is like looking down at you, and they're like pointing a finger, and you know, your reaction is to either get smaller and hide, or to navigate around it, or to break down and like completely freak out. But usually at some point in development, that breaking down, that's like the very early, like 2 year old, 3 year old reaction to it. And then after that, I mean, depending on the kid, the personality and their astrology, but after that, they develop a complex system for dealing with it because it's like to get anger from the person that you love and you care for so much. It's almost like you can't accept it. So you just find a way not to accept it. You find a way to get around it. And so she finally, I think this was maybe last night, she was just like coloring with Luca. And then I was in the other room and then I could hear her start crying. And she was explaining to him, she's like, I'm just really scared in the car when you guys don't listen. Like, I'm scared for your safety. I'm scared because it's very distracting for me when I'm driving and, I could get in an accident. And she just went into it. And
Mm.
she had to take a second to like go into the well and find like what's in the void, what fears are there, how is this actually feeling for her, and then in that wisdom of her expression, he saw a different side. And then, you know it's just one day, but they were really good listeners the next day. It's just like,
Mm.
there you
Yeah.
go. You're revealing the deepest parts and letting them decide what to do with it instead of so much control, right? Like, and this is talked about in the shadow. When
Yeah.
we feel inadequate to deal with the situation or inadequate to deal with our lives, then we try to control and like structure and plan and make everything seem perfect when it's impossible.
Yeah. And when you're ultimately showing, it's like you're explaining what is
Mm.
happening. You're also giving them an example of how to regulate. And you're almost okaying the
Mm-hmm.
emotional expressions, the emotional states, rather than suppression. You're allowing them, you're showing them the example. And like you said, there's this little tiny little being that doesn't know much, is literally afraid it needs to survive. It's completely dependent on you to guide them, to teach them. And it's hugely seeking this. It's like it cannot live without you. It cannot
Mm-hmm.
survive without you. And it's actually really scary to be a child if you really think as an
Mm-hmm.
adult. And yet there's this flip that happens in the brain of an adult that we also do this to each other, right? As adults, do we assume the other knows what we know? But it's completely not true, right? So it's almost like you assume that you're talking to an adult and you're expressing this and you're giving, it's like everything is soaked in. So you almost have to fast track your evolution as a parent at that early age of theirs to figure out how to regulate yourself and allow them this like threshold that it's okay to feel. So that's beautiful what you shared. And it's so tender because they're boys,
Yeah.
and
They
then
need it.
they need it, yes, and
Mm-hmm.
they need to learn softness in it rather
Mm-hmm.
than, just like
Mm-hmm.
rigidity. And you're not a rigid parent to me. Like you're very soft and gentle as well, and you also have this that you learned from your parents. So it's almost like you're figuring yourself out at the same time while you're figuring them out. Of course, this is fast track to evolution. It's like, how can it not be? And you had three of them, soon four, right?
We'll see.
It's so, so cool. And I love how he touches on to be a parent is such a big responsibility, not only for a child and for your own evolution, but for the world at large. And I
Mm-hmm.
think this is the first time, no joke, I have read a positive sentence about human beings becoming better. First time. Usually, and he says there are in a gift. I have to read it. I couldn't believe that he said that. Really? That the human beings are coming better and better in the last 50 years.
Mm.
Better, meaning more healthier
Yeah.
because of their willingness to work on the same fears, to look at the fears,
Mm-hmm.
their own
Yeah.
fears that they learned.
Yeah,
So,
it's true. If you think, and I think back to my lineage and my grandpa died a couple of weeks back and just offered a moment to reflect on where I've come from and kind of like what was passed down emotionally. And Um, he was a funny guy, and he was very kind, but emotionally, I never really saw a whole lot. And even from him, from my grandpa, anger was like pretty rare. Like there was just wasn't a lot of emotion, and I'm sure some of that's like your grandkids are hanging around. You suppress it even more. Um, but just reflecting, like I think, yeah, over the past 50 years, could you imagine 50 years ago would be the 70s? Besides considering like the revolution and like Woodstock and all that, which is a different expression. It wasn't an intimate, emotional, something you'd see in the home, right? It's just like an outward type of thing. Um, but yeah,
Mm.
I would say it's true that yeah, we've evolved in that way, and that ultimately there is a sense of like inevitability. Like it's you can go into parenthood and not have the intention to do the work, but good luck if you're around them and if you're hanging out, like it's happening. And I think some of that too is like he's talked about the kids that are coming in are more and more evolved and more like aware of what's happening, and so they're challenging. Like often my kids challenge me to think deeper about stuff, or they're questioning me, or they're getting me to these to these points
Love it.
of emotion where I'm like just the other day uh with Jace, I was just having to like hold him in the car because we were trying to go somewhere and he was just throwing a fit. I'm having to hold him, and then when he like he's just very strong-willed, so he'll even if I'm holding his arms and his hands, he'll get his fingernails up and around on top of mine and start scratching, or he'll try to bite me or do this stuff, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like feeling emotions I haven't felt. I'm like, "Carl, I haven't felt that in a long time." Like I was thinking, and I got to be a little bit careful with this going public, but I was thinking about slapping the kid. And I'm
Mm.
like, I had to like take a deep breath as I'm holding him and be like, no, you don't actually want to slap him. Like, play it out. Like, how would that go? What would you teach him if that happened? But I just had to recognize I'm like, he's bringing this up in me, and this is real. Like, this is every parent to some degree gets to this point of I want to hit my kid, or I'm so annoyed I could, you know, you name it, whatever it is. And then you have the choice point. And we often think like we would only have reasonable reactions to things, or we'd only have reasonable emotions, or we'd be able to control it. And it's like our kids come in to show us
Mm.
how deep the well can go, and then we get to make the decision based on that.
Ugh.
But as a parent, I've gained a lot of sympathy for these stories of it's as like, and again, it's not often where I hold back with sharing, but um, there's really sad stories about parents that like drown their kids or do
You.
whatever, you name it. Yeah, it's like horrible, horrible,
Wow.
horrible, horrible. But that being said, as a parent, you like I can understand to a degree. I'm like, if you started getting pregnant at 18, 19, and you were not yourself emotionally mature and you got into this and you had your shadows that you never tapped into, and then they started pulling them out. I'm like, yeah, I mean, there's, yeah, parenting, it's hard to describe it or to share
Yeah.
without freaking people out. But like when you become a parent, I mean, I could say this to most parents and they'd be like, yeah, but you say it lightly, you say it jokingly. You're not really um, living with that on a day-to-day basis, but you have these peak moments where you're like, oh geez, like get me out of here. Whatever your normal reaction is.
Yeah. And what you're saying is your own programmed way to not deal with being powerless.
Mm-hmm.
Power and power meaning control, not
Yeah.
being in
Mm-hmm.
control.
Mm-hmm.
And if this tiny little moment of you losing control over something, losing control completely, not being able to power, not feeling powerful, it's actually feeling powerless. And if you don't know how to regulate yourself out of that state, you're literally hitting this flight, fight, freeze. Nervous system literally reacts. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
reacts to the way it knows. Last night I saw this reel. It was really interesting, and it goes, and I want you to do it too. Watch this, and I think you're gonna love this. So get out your right foot and start moving it into the clockwise. Just move it clockwise. Move it clockwise. Just your foot. Now, clockwise, clockwise. Now, while you're doing that, pull your right hand up and write a number 6. What happens with your foot?
It just
Yes.
starts doing six.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is exactly what it does. So this is your learned pattern
Mm-hmm.
that brain literally wants to be efficient. It doesn't want to use energy to think, to
Mm-hmm.
continue foot in a clockwise while you're doing the number 6. And I've done it over. And last night I was like, oh my God, this is like true. So you can't do it. And you have to actually put an effort to do. Keep trying.
Yeah, I
Some,
can do it a little bit, but I want to say this quick caveat. Like, I did some drumming growing up. My dad's a drummer. My brother's a drummer.
mm,
And drummers, this is like totally what you're doing constantly. It's like
mhm,
limb. It's called limb disassociation, like limb isolation, where you can do
mhm,
different patterns, different beats.
mhm.
Yeah.
But the point what I'm trying to
Yeah.
make is that your
Yeah.
system, you have patterns that are automatic.
Hmm.
And unless we are aware of these patterns, we can't, we have to work to break them. They're breakable, but your brain is automatically, look, this body that he's talking about, it's like this body is so powerful, but it's also learning to be efficient, to, it does use energy so much. And it does come from the brain. So we have the ability to break the patterns. And as a parent, what you're saying is like you're getting challenged all the time to notice them
Hmm.
and to do something with them. But now you have a student, you become a teacher, but you're also at the same time a student of your own. So now you have to go back to see where's this coming from, go back into your own schooling and figure out is this functional or dysfunctional? Because in our minds, all we know we think is functional. It's not. It's
Right.
not.
Hmm.
So you have 3 children, a business, a wife, a father. You're a father, a son, a husband. Same for the woman, too. When do you have time to do all of this? You know, it comes down to like, can you actually handle life on your own as a parent, son, grandfather, or whatever, you name it? All these roles are now gifted to you alone to deal with it. And plus, you have your purpose. Plus, you have to find the
Hmm.
soul. Plus, you want to experience yourself and evolve yourself. It's like, and then it's a huge responsibility to be a parent. And you almost need to ask for help to say, hey, this is what's happening. And I think us in millennial generation and, you know, being a millennial itself, myself, it's like in all the other generations, it's like we're willing to ask for help. There's no more shame in
Hmm.
asking. Our grandparents 50 years ago did not. God forbid if you ask for help. No. Now you're willing because you're realizing the complexity of your own self and how you affect the entire environment around you. And you're willing to do it. The act of will comes in and says, no, but I am willing to accept. I evolved so much so, thank you, ancestors. But I'm at the time of my life when I evolved so much so to understand that I have both sides, that I'm not freaking perfect, that I will make mistake. And now I have to deal with accepting that I'm imperfect and dealing with my own shame about it and inadequacy about it. So it's like, wow, wow. So figure, where do you start to even teach this to your in your own school? for your own children. It's a powerful role to have, and it's not for anyone. I personally think I wouldn't be a good parent. I would freak out. I would be so in love with my child that I would guide it in a wrong direction. That's how acutely aware I am of how much I can love that so much, how much I worry about it, like to hurt, I'm too sensitive for it, so
Yeah.
good for you. I'm
Potential.
proud of both of you.
Yeah. Yeah, potentially. And it's like too, I mean, this is related to the shadow, like your idea of what being a parent would be like would, it's like you have 9 months of pregnancy and then in that preparation, you're physically preparing, like there's all these changes happening. Your hormones are changing and you're also like connecting with this being and then it comes out. Of course, you're going to love it tremendously, like beyond any understanding of any other relationship. But also there's just like as they grow, like you also grow, like you grow alongside them. And that's been the most profound thing is like I couldn't predict I'd be here. And it's because of them that I've had most of these changes happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, I'm like 4, 5, or 6 years into my own emotional awakening. And that's Luca's 6 years old. So at some level in his and being a parent to a very, very young child, I had that switch be flipped and now I'm like maturing alongside my kids. So um and also my ideas of how it would go, what would we be doing, like what they would be like. It's completely different. And largely now I've kind of let go of most ideas of the future. By the way,
Mm-mm.
Carly has this sphere of purpose.
Oh, wow.
hmm And I was like, okay, let me look up
What's the
ast-
sign?
the astrology. It's Libra,
Oh,
and she has
hmm.
nothing in Libra. She's completely open there. I thought that was interesting.
But where is her Libra? In what house, do you know?
I'll just peek real quick.
If you don't have planets in the house, it does, you still have that house.
Fourth and fifth.
Mm. That's yeah, that's her
Yeah.
creativity and the house she came from.
Mhm.
So, it's also her mother's house. So how she mothers most of the time will come from the harmony she learned from her own mother.
Mhm.
Wow, Libra. I love Libra. And so, okay, question. So, what did you learn about learning? How did you? Okay, so this is a good question. We learn astrology of others in order to understand how to work with them and harmonize with them, right? So, I have to learn your language in order to change the way I not compromise, but to get to you, you know, to get to you, very
Mhm.
Piscean, to get to you, I need to learn your language. Because if I speak in thongs and you're French, you're not gonna get it. But
Mhm.
if I want to understand you, I'm gonna learn your language. So how did something click when you looked at this key related to her language?
When I had originally done her Gene Keys chart, I was like, yeah, it was to me it was profound. I'm like, look, your purpose is to be wise and to not know. She's like, get out of here. um, there was two things specifically with her profile. Yeah, radiance and purpose. So her radiance is 21.
Hmm.
Her purpose is 48.
Ooh, control and
Yeah.
inadequacy.
I'm like, I'm like, look,
It's
Carly,
so
just give
good.
just give up control and yeah. just let go a little more. But I can see like with her Cancer rising, Cancer sun, like she has an emotional filter, like this and this grounded home energy. This kind of just paints the way she sees everything. And if she feels so deeply, and she often gets to a point of like loss of control just from her own inadequacy, and then out of that she will kind of like crisis moment, like fight, flight, or freeze. And before I'm like frustrated that she's getting there, I'm like, come on, like I'm trying to like bring her up with my Aries energy. And now I'm like, okay, let's go into it. I'm like, we have to dive
Mm,
in so that you can rise out, and you have to
mm,
feel it. And she doesn't always want to feel it. So it's been my role in a way occasionally. I don't always, I'm not like, you need to feel your emotions. But when I can see she's in crisis and she's kind of asking for it with body language, I'll be
mm,
like, let's go into it together. Sometimes I'll navigate through it with questions, or I'll just give her the prompt and let her do it on her own. Give her
mm.
space. Yeah.
It's really cool. And I also, I'm noticing it's like as adults, we're still learning of new emotions.
Yeah.
It's not like we learn, it's not like we learned pain, shame, rejection in 18 and 25, and then in 35, we feel the same thing. It is not the same thing. It changes, it evolves, it mutates, it shifts. It's more powerful, it's less powerful. And it follows us for the rest of our life. We will have emotional states. We have to have emotional states. And I'm noticing the more I take time, and he touches the base of this like feminine power, that it's very infused or inner. And I'm noticing the way I'm changing into processing my emotional states is like when I sit on it and I sip on it.
Mm.
Like I would take a sip of it, like almost like I would have a good cocktail party with my emotion. And I would sip, 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 and I would wander and I would talk, almost like almost like having this like intimacy with, oh, I'm jealous.
Mm.
Hello. How do you feel? Where are you? Right. So I would get so freaking curious. And then it will leave me and then it would visit me again. It would leave me and it would visit me again. And I really can actually tune into what this is that I think is jealousy, which is never what I think it is, when I am regulated. So
Mm.
what you said is like I give you the space. The language is really learning what do you need so you can regulate. And when you regulate and you have space and time to sit on it and sip on it, then it's a different approach to it rather than I have to deal with this right now. Because when right now crisis happens, there's nothing that can be done other than
Mm.
coming down to regulative states that you can actually think, you can get tuned into it, you can use your other forms of intelligence to come in. But when body is like in a pattern on freak out, it blocks. It's a complete blockage. And you can't pass through that wall. You have to know how to regulate yourself. And it's so, so important to do that. And then you can sit and sip. And
Mm.
you get to know them very intimately. And when you know them intimately, you know how to talk about them to the other, to
Mm.
explain them to the other. You learn their language so you can, hey, every time. And this is, I think, easier said than done, okay? When you're not in a relationship or it's so easy to preach on this. But when you get squared or triggered with somebody in front of you in that right moment, it's like no matter what you do, you get tested over and over again. And everything that you've learned so far in your book knowledge, in your mind, fades away. It disappears. It disappears. But again, coming back to that, and I think the act of will to come back to it, to say, hey, I'm going to get this again. But next time I get it, maybe tell me this. Maybe hold my
Mm-hmm.
hand, maybe touch my fingers, maybe give me the test of counterwise and running so that way I can just break through the pattern. And he really touches this exact thing. It's like it's actually slowly breaking through the pattern to become aware when this pattern arises. And imagine teaching these kids. Imagine knowing how to do it so well that you turn out to teach them when they're 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 through the most emotional, but you're actually building the secure style of a person who will be desirable to be around. And then they become an adult who are going to fall in love with someone who is dysfunctional. And it's up to them to
Mm-hmm.
figure out where that boundary is and how much they can offer without getting tuned in. So it's this cycle of like, oh my God, really, really understanding what is happening inside.
Mm. So
I
good.
love, yeah,
Yeah, I love the analogy of sipping tea or like having them as a dinner guest. Like, okay,
sit and sip.
jealousy. Would you like to have a
Yeah.
seat? I want to get to know you. Yeah, curiosity, right? It's like just be curious. That's the doorway in. And like you said, it's so hard to be curious when we're triggered initially or when we feel inadequate, when we feel loss of control. It's like how
Yeah.
can you be curious in that state? It's so difficult.
Especially if your nervous system is automatic
Mm-hmm.
defend, or pull away or put the wall. It's like we have these archetypes that are just coming in and doing their own thing, shutting us down, shutting us down. Yes, you're shut down, but now what?
Mm-hmm.
This bridge between is impossible. It's like you have to be curious, and also it requires your time
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and your willingness.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise you're cycling again and again, and you're teaching children how to do the same exact thing. Maybe who knows, even worse.
Mm-hmm.
So powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think where do I want to bring this? It's funny now with my talks with you in looking for the words. Sometimes I'll say I think, and then I'll have this like recursive thought that happens of like, why are you thinking? Like, why are you like mentally coming up with an idea?
Mm.
Um, and then in this Jinky, he talks about it's all it's like all emanations or not,
Frequencies.
yeah, of the body. Like it's the body that has the emotional states, and even thoughts come from the body. And if we can tune in deeply and just feel each thing where it comes from,
Mm.
we'll have a greater relationship to ourselves and to the harmony that exists, and to the resourcefulness that is there, that's awaiting, that typically when we go up here thinking, controlling, planning, putting everything in details, organizing, it's like you're getting away from the natural resources that are available. And that's part of the genius of this gene key. That's part of the genius of the body. And, but in, like you said, in realizing it,
Mm.
you're asked again and again to let go of the need to control or let go of your own depiction of what's happening, and instead be curious, be gentle, like slow down, like take time to enter into that space and find out, just just discover and be curious about it.
Mm. Yeah. And how cool it is that we are willing to do that, right? So I don't think my grandpa or grandma sat there, thought about, oh, I have an emotion. I don't think they had the capacity to get, they were too. in so much more fear
Yeah.
to survive, especially, and your environment plays a huge role. It's like how you grow up if you're in a third world war country or in the country that it's totally threatened, under the threat all the time. Though your parents have a house, they are under the panic, manic, threatening frequencies that you can pick up on. And I grew up in that. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
the closed-mindedness, the rigidness, the control, like the total need every day to survive. Like you wake up with, what am I going to eat? Like, do I have a food? Do I have enough means? Right. So it is, it's, you learn not only by language and by visuals and by listening, you learn so much more. And that I think there's this sense of love and humbleness and humility for just being human, that it's hard. It's very, very complex. And we're only given this many tools that we understand to use. So when he touches deep down into the frequency of the body, it reminded me of Greg Burden talks about the heart and this new technology that came into it's color coded in a human heart is the last thing that stops when the body dies, right? So and they put some like a dye in it to color the emotions of the heart, the emotions of the heart,
Mm.
and it literally it turns into the edges of the heart have these little mini spots and dots of the colored emotion. It's like, oh my God, heart has emotions. It feels on its own. And it's not just what we produce in our heads that reacts, that gives us the signal to the entire nervous system to react, but rather than the heart also has
Mm-hmm.
the states of emotions that it feels and it literally radiates out. So we are so much more available to it now as a generation and so much more willing to be humble about our own selves, to live in a slight humility of complexity of our own being and to allow these emotions to come in. And I love that this is such a good time to live in. It's like when you really think about it, because you want to feel everything. You want to learn how to feel everything.
Says Pisces.
But I'm also myself, I'm also getting to that love for self, and not self as a personality and ego, but self for a humanness, the
Mm.
heart that feels. And I'm so becoming so more sensitive. Yesterday I was coming back from the gym, and as I was going out there and I was like pushing, 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 this vertigo thing is real. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God. Like, and now I don't have it, which is so wild, Eric, so wild. But I'm coming back, and I was like, what am I so afraid of? A thought that just came to my mind. I was like, I'm so afraid to hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
And when someone tells me I hurt them, though I hurt their personality, yeah, it's a different feeling. But if I hurt your soul, it is frightening to me to hurt you. It's like it frightens me so much. It's like, oh my God, am I that sensitive? I just realized this yesterday. I was like, am I that sensitive? And if I'm so sensitive, do I need to shut down, or what do I do? Do I lean into it even more? Right? So
Mm.
it never stops, this discovery, self-discovery.
Yeah. I think with my with my Aries ascendant, I'm like I'm like, so you hurt
So what?
someone. Care. Yeah, care, yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
can't take it.
Yeah.
It actually
Yeah.
causes me to go into my own shadows a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where I think it triggers me to learn what is functional and what is dysfunctional,
Mm-hmm.
to separate from someone else's trauma and deal with my
Yeah.
own stuff. And I love that I'm in that phase of wait, but no, my intention was not that. Your what you perceived is different story. But the input came from the heart. And I will stay with it and this is what we need to teach kids. It's like differentiate you from other.
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like this boundary of like, where is your value coming from and where is someone else's value coming in to tell you it's the value and it's not. It's like you have to be very discerning about it. Oh my God, and I'm learning this in 40.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm going to get mad at my parents. So, why didn't you teach me this? Damn it. And then I'll forgive them for not knowing better. Let's
Yeah,
see.
of course.
Mm.
Yeah, they're doing a good job with what they were given. Yeah, it's lately I've
Mm.
been feeling more and more like what you and I are doing here. And of course, you have another podcast where you're engaging in this quite regularly. But when I'm away from this space, or if I'm not having conversations that are, deeper intelligence or talking about astrology or any of these things, and I'm just participating in the world or taking the kids out, going to the beach, um, just going to the store, doing regular things. I feel like I'm starting to feel more and more like this weird displacement. And part of it too is like I've been holding the Osho mantra, like this is a dream. I've just been like
Mhm.
repeating it as much as I can. And I'm just feeling this displacement of like this is this is largely like this exploration, this work or this curiosity that we come to each other with and that we just have these conversations. This is to me what feels like truth, reality, groundedness. It feels punchy, like there's like depth to it. And then I'm out in the world and I'm like it's just ethereal. Like I could just put my hand through people and they wouldn't feel it, like that sort of feeling. Or there's that and then there's like this other layer of people getting so worked up with political news and there's even political or news or whatever else. There's even this astrologer that I've been following, tuning into the past 2 months, and he tends to bring up like the Epstein stuff every time. He's like, "Oh, so we're revealing truth with like Mercury moving, whatever, Saturn coming out of retrograde." He's like, "We might have some revelations with the Epstein stuff." I'm like, I don't fucking like. I get that it's relevant for people. I get that people care about it. But for me, I'm like, this isn't, I can't do anything with it. Like, it's totally separate. And maybe this is, again, like for me being Aries ascendant, but I'm just like, I just don't want any of that anymore because I've done that. And that's out of this shadow where I'm trying to get the most knowledge where I am like, okay, I can piece it all together. I know who the bad guys are, I know what they're doing. I know how I'm affected and I know how to navigate around it or to not be controlled. But it's just like I can see through it now and I can feel through it. I'm like, this
Mhm.
isn't relevant to me anymore. This is taking me out of my body's truth.
Mm.
Um, and I was just curious for you, maybe in your circles in LA or even at work that it feels different. But I'm curious to you if you feel this rising intensity of like separation
Mm.
that's happening.
Yes, two things to this. You know, I read somewhere that AA meetings and 12-step programs are the last step is connecting to the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't connect with the spirit, the entire program
Mm-hmm.
fails. And this meaning you connect to something that it's much larger than you,
Mm-hmm.
that has much more power, the higher power, the connection with something larger than you. So we learn not to be, not to have a sense of not being in control of all, not to be the God of humans. And I think that is so crucial. This is why I think everything is falling apart. And I don't know. I don't even own a TV for the same exact reason. But I think because only then I will be humble enough to understand how small I am.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oh gosh, where did I read this? Sorry, I have to bring this to you. Did I?
Your Gemini is showing.
Something? I loved it, and I don't know which book was it. Oh my God.
which which
I'm
of
gonna
my 40 bucks I have open?
yes, yes, yes. I'm looking to see where is it. But it's something about being small, feeling tiny, and not to diminish the power, but to understand that there's so much more that I don't understand, and to
Mm-hmm.
bring the humbleness of being human, limited in the form, to you. And only when you become so humble, you knee down, you fall on your knees and you surrender. And you surrender into the unknown, into the trust of something you will not comprehend. And, it's like we have to have this connection with the spirit to have the sense of belonging into the unknown. Isn't that so wild? It's like, oh, but I feel I am coming back to my source
Mm-hmm.
only by opening the space, only by giving myself this time every week, once a week, twice a week, max, right? So it's like twice a week to give myself enough time to connect to something much, much deeper than 3D,
Mm-hmm.
right? 3D of what I have to do because we're grinding. We have to. Yes, we have to have this responsibility and be a good citizen and stuff like that. But at the same time, something very deeply is like rupturing. It's almost like there's a crack in the earth. There's two sides of it, and you feel one is more concrete than the other. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's this sense that I love that he prophesizes in this. Like sometimes I wonder, am I so rude to think that this time is so important and that I happen to be in this time, right? So it's so important to feel this crack between in within, and you can see the difference between the mindsets and the feelings and the frequencies that you're dealing with. And I do not often hang out with people that are in my frequency. I am
Mm-hmm.
in a pure opposite. So last night I hanged out with, like, I was with my friend, and I ended up going a little bit away from the LA to spend. And I, not knowing it was her birthday, it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt part of me felt fulfilled by being there for her and exchanging at that level. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not the whole of me.
Yeah.
Much larger part of me sits in this part of the crack that is seeking this depth of source, to resource from the source that is not, that I am actually like, it's a deep and deeper and deeper and larger crack in between how I can reach to you. And I think it's happening, and I love that we're living in it, and that we've done a prerequisite work enough, what I think for me, enough to understand that the differences are happening,
Right.
enough to be prepared for what is to come, which is totally unknown, and
Mm-hmm.
to know how to regulate myself. So all of this is not for nothing. It's like I dare to think that I'm here for a reason, bigger reason that I know. And it's bigger than just task and, like, yeah, it's very I think it can be very controversial because everybody is trying. There is this deep
Yeah.
sense of us figuring it
Mm-hmm.
out and FOMOing. Are we behind? Are we, like I had a conversation and, my friend asked us after, and I engaged with the person who is very AI driven. And I engaged and I was like, but in the end of the day, you will need me to touch your heart and actually put my hand on your body. And
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what AI is all creating and where we're evolving into to become, it's like, at the end of the day, will you survive without hug is the question. And she then asked me, I was like, do you know who you just challenged? I was like, I don't know. It doesn't matter who I challenged. I spoke from my heart. It can
Mm-hmm.
be a Pope Francis, right? But there is a
Yeah.
difference. There is a huge, vast crack growing much bigger. So the land is actually, the clouds are parting. There are different
Yeah. Yeah.
colors.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking on this slight caveat, but I think it relates closely. I was reflecting about this friend I have who is really AI friendly, adopting it and also like creating a business around it. Constantly, talking about different tools and also like has the idea that of course I'm going to get the robot in my home. It's going to help me. Of course I'm going to do that. Of course, like just like natural, I will adopt, I will adopt, I will adopt. And I was just reflecting on it like yesterday, randomly, it just came up. The thought bubble popped up and I was like, why is she so into it? Because technically speaking, I should be more into it than her, but for some reason I have this like natural um just slight hesitation around it or just more curious and rather than fully accepting of everything that comes out of it. And I'm like, oh, and just you speaking about like, well, you'll need me to touch you. I'm like, oh, she has, and this is probably not true for everyone, but I think there's a theme that might be running that we could talk about. But she has such deep, 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 really painful trauma of betrayal over and over again, and betrayal
Mm,
from those that are close to her. And what she's done is physically removed herself and living in such a deep space of fear, like even answering the door for the postman, like getting a letter or a box. She has to like prepare herself and like do like breathing exercises, all this stuff. So she's in such a space of fear that AI is like kind of looks like a solution to problems that she has that she can't solve in her isolation.
mm,
But there will still be that gap of human connection and depth that's missing and physical touch and things that can only be replicated. But like if you try to do AI therapy, like you're
mm.
like it's good advice, but you still step away and you're like just a little bit something's just a little bit off with it where you don't feel you don't feel the same as if you had the same exact words come to you from a human being with it's almost like it's too perfect.
Mhm.
Like the answers were too perfect. And if it was a therapist, they might have said something that actually was like annoying, or they might have like looked at their phone real quick and I'd been like, what was that about? Like, I don't know. It's just like there's beauty and there's humanness in our imperfection. And I think when we share in that space, when we it touches something that AI like I would assume can't or is going to have a very difficult time trying to replicate with just code of like, okay, okay, humans like this and humans like when we make mistakes, so we're gonna put in an algorithm so that we're not perfect all the time. It's like it's just gonna be it's just gonna be modeled after what we seek, but won't touch it. It won't ever get there. So
Eh,
yeah, I think what I was gonna touch on is kind of like maybe the fear itself is driving the evolution of AI or
Mm,
or the technology.
mm, yeah. Yeah. And then do you have a sense that eventually you'll just have to choose?
I try not to have a sense. It's
Okay.
like because I could trick myself and I've been down. I started from the rabbit holes of like looking at AI as like okay the mark of the beast in the Bible, like Revelation, all of this stuff, and like
Mm,
considering that, I'm like, oh, that kind of makes sense. Like if we're gonna have chips or neural implants, wouldn't that be pretty close to what was talked about in Revelation? Um, but and also realizing like Jesus's message and what's revealed in Revelation is very similar to your uh awakening or your enlightenment. It's like the detailed process is it's just using metaphors to describe it. I'm like, there's also just like inherent wisdom that's placed there that it could be both, it could be neither, it could be something else. And I'm trying to get myself out of I know it's gonna happen or it's gonna look like this, but also because I've been proven wrong so many times that
I
yeah.
love it. And I ask because I feel there's a sense that is a sense of me that it's deciding already without me. I'm catching up on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like it's doing this thing exactly. There's this compass that speaks more, and eventually it's going to change. And you see, when all of that we know and we're certain of falls and becomes uncertain, then it's like some wisdom talks through me,
Mm-hmm.
right? So because you become resourceful
Yeah.
from the source.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that he's speaking of the wisdom as the gift and then resourcefulness as the CD. Then at that point, and I don't know, of course, I don't know how this feels like, but what I do know right now at this moment is that my body, the way I feel, the sense, and I'm not talking sensations, I'm talking sense. I'm talking a layer of me, this
Mm-hmm.
complex, another layer. I don't know, is it 70 or 77? I don't know. But there's another layer of me that is concretizing,
Mm-hmm.
that speaks for me, to me, on behalf of me. And the more I almost soften to it. What?
Goosebumps. Sorry, goosebumps.
The more I soften to it, the less I know, which means the more I don't know, the more I'm entering into not knowing, into the unknown. And then I just watch and I just observe. Literally, I observe the synchronicities, the cues, the signs, the puzzle pieces, just like I observe. And this, when Saturn is direct. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you see, the planets are in alignment. When February
Mm-hmm.
hits, which happens to be my birthday,
Yeah.
I can't wait for both Saturn and Pisces to enter into the Aries because this like fog of is it this, is it that, it's gonna clear. And Saturn just moved direct. I
Mm-hmm.
literally felt push and nudge. There was so much clarity that came in without me even trying to find it. It's like, oh, and then I started
Yeah.
realizing a lot of things. Oh, this is that, and
Mm-hmm.
not as a statement to stand for or go out there on the stage and announce it or stand for something. No, but I actually was clear. I was clarified about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Was I healthy? Was I unhealthy? Did I say something? Was my intention? It was very inner. Was my intention ill or malicious
Mm-hmm.
or benefic? Did I want to revenge or did I want to love? Right? All of these things came to my realization about myself. It's like, oh, but wait a minute, where did I come from? Suddenly everything just feels very clear in the mind,
Mm-hmm.
but it's coming from the heart. So all of this confusion is literally the preparation for your mind to change the way it thinks out of your heart
Yeah.
and out of the body, out of that sense. So there's this innate sense that the trust to self is becoming and building itself up as a concrete compass that I can just pull out and know which way to go. And we all have it. And I think it's happening for a lot of people, not only me. I'm not talking, if I am feeling it, there must be. I almost am certain that other people feel it too. Just who? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, in the right time, I think we'll connect with the people that we're meant to navigate into that future with. But it's interesting too how the retrograde period, like I've heard this before, but this is the first time I've felt it and maybe and actually understanding like more astrology, I was able to kind of pull it together. But Saturn and Mercury retrograde together, I was like feeling like these karmic like these things showing up. Like I said about Jace like holding him and having this emotion come up. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like this is what it means. Like this, it's pulling up things to review, pulling up random memories from past lovers, where I'm like, why is this like this is totally irrelevant to what I'm doing right now. I'm like, okay, well, there's something here. There's something to be reviewed and processed, and then you're right. When you go direct, it's like clarity. Like
Hmm.
this is why, like this is why it was in review. Like because now you have more to come forward into, to step into. Like you understand more about yourself, and yeah, having that sense, like seventh sense, I guess we could call it. um, I think that is this wisdom, and it's interesting in the city too. Of course, it's about not having an idea. It's
Hmm.
about like not knowing. And I think maybe this is the separation is it'll be those who know and those who don't know.
Or have a sense that they trust.
Well, it's yeah, essentially I'm just putting it in like brute force terms that would be kind of like if I just go around saying as a 34-year-old man, I don't know about everything. Like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. What does that feel like? For most people, it feels slippery, feels like you're just flying with the wind. Like I've heard this from my brother actually, like you're just going where the wind takes you. And I'm like, yeah. And it's good. Um, those who think they have stability, solidity, a plan, a direction, who are, like putting their stamp on the way the world's supposed to run and operate. And then those of us who have the sense, yeah, that the more we let go, the better it goes. The more we release control, the more resources we have. And to touch
Yeah.
on too, resourcefulness comes from source. It's like your fullness of source, but there's that aspect, which is like it's almost like we have to remember that it's already there. Like we have to it's like we've forgotten. So there's the it's like we have to go back into it to pull it out. And
Hmm.
I find that to be really relevant to these times.
Yeah. So good.
Ooh.
Can
Yeah,
I
and he
add
talks
something
about
to?
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll have my.
He's just talking about unsecure versus insecure.
Mm.
Everything about wisdom is about being unsafe and unsecure. There's a great difference between being insecure and being unsecure. To be insecure is to be kidnapped by fear and taken on an illusory journey that promises final redemption, but can never deliver it. That journey is the human journey, and it is ultimately discovered as meaningless. There's simply no solutions because there is no problem in the first place.
Yeah.
To be unsecure, on the other hand, is to have embraced your urge to escape fear in every way possible. It is to realize that your body itself is not afraid to die.
Mm.
Yeah, this to me, like, talk about a chasm separating those who know and those who don't know. Those of us who don't know, we we have this knowledge from the body which is indescribable. It's like this isn't all that there is, and there's nothing to fear. There's no problem to solve.
Yeah. And I think it comes very in a light version with Pisces because we already, you know, co co commute there all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
hence why I said in the previous episodes, like I think there's a sense of us being invited to step forward, to lead as
Mm-hmm.
water signs that are actually operating in this level all the time of full emotional, like alchemy of passing through and transforming, transmuting, and being so comfortable to build this sense of knowing into the unknown and trusting the universe more than you trust the mind. And think this is the invitation to step forward, to give the example that it's okay, right? So it's almost like to hold someone who is so frightened and rigid and control to hold on to the matter or the material more. But
Mm.
yeah, ugh, you know, sometimes I get scared because it's such a big responsibility. And that fear again comes in to be like, oh, I'll rather not deal with, like, who am I to tell? And, like, no, no, no. But that's not the heart. It's actually a total fear of having such a big responsibility to be the example that also offers the awareness or awakening moments, these like little words or sentences that would, you know, trigger something, some sort of alchemy in someone.
Mm.
And to be willing to get crucified for it and laughed and ridiculed for it. Yeah, you have to have that higher purpose and the purpose that it's larger than you, that it's much bigger than just you in order to sustain, like the backlash, potential backlash and fear that will come your way. It's like, I always have this, I always have this picture in my mind when you have a person in the ocean who knows how to swim and the other one that doesn't. Both will die when the one that does, both will die in a panic and a fear. It doesn't matter how good of a swimmer you are if the one is pulling you down. It's like literally, it's it's like how the question is how do you make the one who doesn't know how to swim less panicky and fearful?
I had a
You
sorry, there's like a scene from a movie, I swear, where this was happening, and then the person that can swim just punches them and knocks them out so that they can save their life and they can,
yes,
yeah,
you have to almost like get them out of the fear, like regulate them, and you can't when they're in such a frantic mode. So there's so much that comes as a fear and that takes over even the ones that don't fear or have less than what the other one has. So I always had that image. It's like, how am I going to survive? Though I know, yeah, yeah, you have to. You have to because it's for the better of both. Do you
yeah,
both want to live or you both gonna die? It's like I want to live, and this brings back my previous thought that I wanted to say. It's like for some reason we want to survive. For some reason we want to
weird.
live. It's so weird, and that's where that love for humanity comes in place. It's like we are actually desiring deeply to survive, to
Hmm.
survive as a civilization, and even if we came from who knows where as the extension of who knows which other civilization, we still want to be human.
Hmm.
Even if this address is the worst possible or the most prestigious, or it doesn't matter, but we really deeply want to make it through. Whatever that we're making it through, we want to
Yeah.
live, we want to live, we want to
Hmm.
live. And this living love for life is so much bigger to take on in this little tiny little human body. But we can't do it alone. We have to do it as a collective. And I refuse to think that I'm alone in thinking and feeling this way. I feel that there must be more because I'm feeding from that collective field. And I'm in for it. It makes you really, a Superman. You have a role. It makes your
Hmm.
role much larger than you, and you want to die for it. That's so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So poetic too.
Yeah. So, as water sign Pisces leaders, how do we metaphorically punch those who are panicking?
I just imagine Osho swimming. He's like,
Yeah.
da 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 da. He'd be like, okay, bye. No, you gotta have that discernment. And I think this is how I feel. It's like you gotta want to have that mission until the end. You gotta want to take that chance in this life. You gotta want to fight for it. You have to have a will for it. And you will not kill, but you will punch to punch the mind
Hmm.
And you're gonna need to take the hit. Like, okay, so you're gonna need to sit and deal with punching someone. And that's
Mm-hmm.
another layer of you that you need to really be willing to accept that, yeah, in order for both of you to survive, you're gonna need to choose. Are you choosing life or death?
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
you gotta dive deep, like super deep to know what you're fighting for. What you fighting for?
Mm-hmm.
What you fighting for? 2090, 2090, the year. What do you want to leave behind? And if this all just becomes a little fractal, 2090, all of this that we're trying to do, right? Right now, it becomes a tiny little, just a sentence in some
A
story
seed.
later.
Mm-hmm.
What would you want to contribute?
Mm. This
And what is this? Space, love, care, connection, freedom.
exploration. Yeah. Curiosity.
Yeah.
Freedom.
Yeah.
So good.
So good. This morning I woke up and I thought, ah, I'm sensing the end of this,
Yeah. I was
right?
thinking too. I'm like, whoa, it's going fast.
We're 49. We only have what, 60? We have 15 more. That's it.
Hey, so at some point, you and I should get matching tattoos.
What?
Yeah.
Is this a joke or a
No, I'm serious.
seed? And what would that be?
Maybe a dragonfly or
Oh my God. That was my last year's. Have to show you. Look at this.
yeah.
Isn't that was every year I buy a new ornament. You still didn't send me your
Oh
actual
yeah, I had to
tree.
put it together. We had a busy week last week.
And I also yesterday thought about going to this girl who is a tattoo artist to get a tattoo
Hmm.
and to get and just to look at her in her eyes. I
Yeah.
know, weird. But yeah, there was a sense of it's like tattoo, tattoo, tattoo again. And I was like, if I were to go, we're going in LA here.
Yeah, no, I don't know anyone here, so I'll come to you.
Yay.
There's there's someone I've seen down at the beach, and I haven't seen her that much, but she has a full dragonfly on her back.
Mm.
And I was gonna ask her, but I had the kids at the time. I'm like, hey, Pisces, 55? Anything resonating, or just do you like dragonflies?
Pisces 55?
hmm
Why? Why is Dragonfly
Get
55? What?
get in there.
Come on.
Are you serious?
Seriously?
Yeah,
Holy shit.
the dragonfly's dream. That's all about it.
Oh my God.
And
See?
59 is the dragon, right? So I already have a dragon tattoo. Just need the dragonfly.
I like the idea. And I'm yes to it.
Yeah. We'll
I would never,
see.
I actually never thought I would, but I would.
You
Okay.
never thought you would because
Matching tattoos and thing like that, I have to change the story
uh
about why. So if it has a higher purpose, then for sure.
yeah. Well,
Do
maybe
you
it could
do you
be
see my
maybe
tattoo on my back?
no.
Wow. I also have a big tattoo on my back.
Oh, send me a picture.
Wow. How come I never told you this?
How often do we show each other our backs?
We only met once. That's so true.
You're like, hey, look at this on the plane.
Yeah. And I didn't even have it then when we met.
Oh, you got it after. Hmm. Yeah, I'm
Interesting.
curious.
Anyway,
Well, we could do it doesn't have to be matching. It could be complementary or like, that sort of thing.
I
We'll
have a
see.
girl where we're gonna go, and we'll go. You just have to come here.
I know we're pulling that together.
Now it's the time to plan. Mercury direct. Let's
Yeah.
go. Okay.
All right. Love you.
Good. Ciao.
hmm Ciao.